Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crazy Kitsune Gaming with our first episode of... Wait, what's the full name of this game again? Sonic X Shadow Generations! Yes, that is a tongue twister of a name, and I am probably going to have to find a way to abbreviate it at some point or another. But yes, this is the brand spanking new Sonic game. And as you might notice, it is actually two Sonic games put into one. Yes, this is both the new Shadow Generations game and the old Sonic Generations that we've all known and loved for so long now. So, today I'm going to be going into the beginning stage of the Shadow Generations. Now, before we get into this, I am going to say, I do plan to do Sonic Generations, this new version of it, again. So, do keep an eye out for that, but this is the brand new Sonic game. This is the one that is actually completely new. So, that is what we're going to be doing today. Now, one thing I will say, this will have spoilers for the story of this game. And speaking of the story, if you have not played certain prior Sonic games, the namely being Sonic Adventure 2 or Shadow the Hedgehog, yes, there is a Sonic game out there just called Shadow the Hedgehog. It's pretty interesting. Not the most well-designed game, but its story, as confusing as it might be, does give some context for the story of this game, Shadow Generations. So I want to say that. Unfortunately, Shadow Generations is not available on console as far as I'm aware. I don't think it's available on PlayStation or anything like that. You'll just have to find a PC that can emulate it, I believe. Now, Sonic Adventure 2, I think, can give some much better, more concise context of this game's story, and also, it's something I think you can actually get here on console. So, yeah, just want to say that before we get into things. So then, we're going to go with a new game, and yes, hold your socks. We actually have save data slots again. It's been... where have they been? Where have they been all our lives? Because I really feel like at this point, every game should have these. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and just so you know, I don't talk during cutscenes, so do keep that in mind. I will just be letting those play out without my yapping. I'm just here to sort of explain and introduce the gameplay.
So, yes, it is time to awaken the ultimate life. Welcome to the world, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow, this is Rouge. Do you copy?
Shadow here. I copy.
Are you still aboard the Ark?
Yes, I arrived at the space colony an hour ago.
Well, you're missing the birthday party. I hope you're planning on being here.
I already told you. Gun detected an unusual biosignature aboard the Ark. I'm not leaving until I eliminate any possible threat.
There's free food.
got you now. I won't let you get away.
Alright, and now we are into things. And of course they start us off rail grinding, which... not sure if we've had a Sonic game literally start you off rail grinding. We've had one starting off skateboarding, Sonic Adventure 2, but I don't think rail grinding. So, anyway, these hint rings, these are basically, they are a good way, if you're confused about something, to learn mechanics of the game. So, yeah, this is a weird thing they've decided to do. It's now right trigger to boost. I don't know why, it seems like such a strange thing to do. But, yeah, there it is. Now, when boosting, we have a little boost gauge down here at the bottom. If you've never played a boost game before, then it's probably a little strange, but basically this will go down as you use the boost, and it does give you a pretty dang good burst of speed. If you want to refill the boost gauge, then collecting rings like this is a very good way to do that. I also believe taking out enemies can do that as well. And of course, we do have our usual Sonic game moveset of the jumps, the slides, all that stuff. Kind of interesting that you can basically make a full circle with the slide here. Don't think we've ever had a slide mechanic that flexible. So then, yes, A to jump, and yes, we are having again the double jump. Kind of weird, I don't know when double jumps started in games, but it's a thing. And also, this is one where, yes, it is X to homing attack. So yeah, as you can see, we have a few enemies. Now, of course, these are just the tutorial starting enemies. So, yeah. So, how the health system works in Sonic games is a little weird. Basically, by collecting rings, then these are sort of a damage shield. So when you get hit, yes, you will lose rings. Now, this is not one of those Sonic games where they've made it so that one hit gets rid of every ring. In fact, that's probably quite generous. And actually, I was able to grab back every single ring. So I'm kind of wondering, I'm not quite sure, most Sonic games have it, so that there's a certain amount of rings that will just disappear and be lost outright. No exceptions. But, it seems like this one is a bit different. I was able to grab every single one of those rings. And yes, you can use the slides to kill enemies. Not quite as effective, but there it is. Now then, of course, we have our good old spring pads like this, which can be used to, basically move yourself forward. Similar thing with these dash pads. There we go. Homing attack the asteroids because, yep, those are homing attackable. And go ahead and grind on this rail for just a little bit. And of course, you can boost while on the rails. Now, it's not quite going to be important yet, but you can, if there are other rails beside you, you can switch to them while grinding, and it's going to become very important very fast. So, these are the gun hunters. We've had these in quite a few Sonic games. They always follow the same concept of shooting a sort of projectile at you. It's funny, we've had a different projectile every time. In Sonic Adventure 2, they fired what were clearly metal slugs. Heated metal slugs. In Sonic Generations, they shot out weird yellow plasma balls. And now they're just shooting fireballs out of their guns like they're wizards. They really can't make up their mind with what kind of weapons these things are meant to have. Now then, as you can see, down on the bottom of the screen, we just got access to something called Chaos Control. Now, I'm not going to use it quite yet. Oh yes, and by the way, gravity can just change in this game, like that. Yep, just plenty of times where you can just walk on the walls. If that's what you want to do, then feel free. But essentially what this Chaos Control does is it sort of pauses the game for everything but you. So everything will stop moving. Any obstacle, any enemy, any projectile literally flying to your face, it will just stop. But you are allowed to continue moving. So what is this hint gonna say? Yes, enemies can be defeated by hitting them while boosting. Okay, I mean, fair enough. I guess I did technically forget to say that. There we go. So, I'm just gonna use Chaos Control here. Yes, we have these weird rocket shooting obstacles. So let's use Chaos Control real quick. And yeah, everything stops. There is a timer over your head of how long it lasts. And yeah, it will stop any moving object of any kind. And honestly, there are a lot of abilities like that in this game. There's just a ton of neat little abilities that are sort of complementary to the moveset and main mechanics of the game. They're not quite gimmicky like Wisp and Sonic Colors, for example. Because once you get them, because you will be unlocking more abilities like Chaos Control, once you have them, they're just there. They're part of your moveset. So yes, while the Chaos Gauge is at max, press the left trigger, or whatever button you have if you're on PC, for example. And it will activate Chaos Control. Use it to freeze the missiles and traverse them, which yes, I've already shown we can do. And yes, we do have these weird item globes here. In this case, this one is a, guess what, a Chaos Control charger. So we're just gonna wait till these missiles are at about the middle. There we go. Oh. I keep getting confused of right trigger to boost, and then left trigger for Chaos Control. Okay, let's just use this as a good example of, yeah, there will be cases where you need to gain elevation with the missiles by using Chaos Control. Yeah, they really ask you to do weird things with the mechanics they have. There we go. Use the Chaos Control, and that just means that a bunch of the obstacles will now just not be any issue. It is a very useful tool, and they do use it in some very interesting ways so far from what I've seen. Hello, Chaos Control Globe. Okay. Again, it is left trigger. Left trigger. Get your left and right figured out, Crazy Kitsune Gaming. It's not that hard. There we go. Grab that. Use the left trigger thing again. And that means that we were able to use all those missiles by timing it right as a bridge to get us up to this higher path. And we even got a collectible for it. That is the beauty of the Chaos Control. Alright then, this is, yep, a Chaos Control moment. And yes, we're going to have situations like this where you will need to mash a particular button, or hit certain buttons in a certain amount of time. They're called, I think the situation in most games is called a quick time event. They can kind of come at you out of nowhere. Oh yes, and skydiving. By the way, you can hit the right trigger to speed yourself up during skydiving. But yeah, they're kind of odd situations, the quick time events, because they can really just come out of nowhere in this game. I think the first Sonic game that had them was Sonic Unleashed. You could always see them coming though, because they were connected to specific dash pads and panels and things like this. Here you're never safe from them. Alright then, so this is another new enemy called... I forget what it's called exactly. It's called a Chaos something. Basically what they do is they will, try to stretch out their arms and attack you. And they have a surprisingly good range. The best way to get rid of them is to wait until after they've used the ability and, then use a homing attack on them. Things like a slide, that's just not quite gonna cut it at all. And be careful because they can use those arms to reach just about anywhere around themselves. If you're in that radius to be hit, you will be hit. It is going to happen. Okay then, so here we have the laser traps. So just real careful slide under them. So this is an interesting enemy. Surprised he's not quite shooting at me, but again, this is kind of the tutorial level. This is the gun beetle. So this one's not going to do it, but what this guy does is he basically just floats up there in the air and uses the cannon on him to shoot more of those fireballs at you. So you should be quite careful of them. Usually, though, they're meant to be set up in sort of homing attack situations like that, where you can use them to get up to a higher route. Wow, okay, I just got bounced all over the place. Okay. So yeah, see here, more gun beetles conveniently lined up in an area where we can get up to that red ring there, which will let us move on to the next section of the level. There we go. You do have to do a lot of air boosting in this game, I notice. You have to get really... There we go, jump up there to that higher path. You have to get really revolutionary with how you use the boost. Essentially, air boosting is when you jump up and then boost mid-air to try and reach a platform that you would not be able to reach with a jump. Back in Sonic Generations, this was not such a thing you had to think about, but they really... I have to say, I am loving the game so far.
You.
Alright, new skydiving area. And yes, the person we just saw there is Doom's Eye. Essentially one of the main antagonists of this game. I also noticed we have our Chaos Control locked out in this section. Did not notice that the first time I was going through here.
We meet again, Shadow the Hedgehog.
And I got a message from someone while recording. That really needs to stop happening. So yes, this section of the level...
My latest creation.
This is your doing? How?
Okay. Just felt rude to talk over him. This section of the level is going to be mostly straightaways, where you can feel free to kind of boost to your heart's content. And yes, it is absolutely endlessly trippy around here. You'll need to get used to this. This game will break your brain. There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is a sliding section.
The promised time will arrive once more.
Do be careful of the weird purple fire things. There we go.
You cannot deny your fate.
Alright then, of course, more of the gun hunters. There we go. And now go ahead and smack them.
won't let him escape.
Alright then, more skydiving. Alright, and that is the level complete. With a D. Yes. That is another thing I kind of like about this game so far. And I do have to say, no, I have not played all of it quite yet. But from what I'm seeing, I quite like it. I mean, look at that. I got a D. The ranking system, once again, you actually have to try to get good ranks. And I do like that, because in Generations, for some levels it was fair, but it overall just felt way too easy. I much prefer this, how they have it set up here. You need to actually know the level and do it competently to complete it. Which, of course, because I was explaining the mechanics, I did not quite do. So I quite like that. So, yeah, as I was trying to say, they really do make you use all the mechanics of the game in really clever ways, and I am really liking it so far. And I'm gonna say something kind of shocking. I might even like it more than Sonic Generations. I know, and I haven't even played through all of it yet. It's a scary thought, to think that something could be better than it. I mean, to be fair, there was always Sonic Unleashed, which I sometimes, depending on what time of day it is, I consider to be better than Sonic Generations. But yeah, I think this is just a really good game so far.
The fake Chaos Emerald Tails made to foil the Doctor's plans. Even I have a hard time distinguishing between the two of them.
Alright then, so we are now into the hub world. And yeah, it's definitely following the color scheme of the Sonic Generations hub world. And just like it, when we complete the levels, then the entry area to them will get more colorful. So yeah, it definitely does follow the principles of Sonic Generations, but it is definitely adding a lot on top of what is already there. Now, we will get into the rest of the levels and even talk to Omega and discover all the other things that are around here, but that will be for another episode. For today, I'm just gonna say thank you so much for watching, and also, again, thank you to all of my subscribers, all 73 of them now. Man, that is kind of crazy to think about. And, yeah, just thanks to all of them. Thank you to you for watching this video, especially all the way to the end. Most people do not do that. And obviously, if you've liked the video this much, then why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you'll have an easier time seeing future videos that I put up about this game. And also, don't forget to leave a like on it, as that is very helpful to me as well. Now, with all that said, I am going to call it a day, or maybe a night. You can't really tell what time of day it is here in the weird white world, but there it is. Have a good time, everyone. And I'll see you in the next video.